Hey everybody, it's Allison here with New Little Life. Today I brought you into my kitchen and we're gonna do something pretty fun. We're gonna use breast milk to make soap. So, there's a lot of recipes online for breast milk soap that I found, and I've tried several of them. So today I'm gonna show you kind of a couple of options that you have. I'll post links down below to where you can get the stuff because that's always a hard part for me. Like, where can I actually buy the stuff to make this? The breast milk, you're gonna have to come up with on your own, but the rest of the stuff I'll post down below for you. My little guy is asleep on the floor over here, and the other two kids are home on holiday break, so they're in the living room. So I might be insane for filming this video with all three kids by myself, but you might see a little helper in my video. They've been dying to help me out, so I told them they might. Basically, breast milk soap is just breast milk and soap base. And you can make a cold press soap, but I have no clue how to do that. I am not a soap maker. So hopefully you can find a different video on that. I'm doing like melt and pour soap bases with breast milk, super easy. So that's what we're going for here. You can find lots of different kinds on Amazon is where I got all of these. So here's a couple that I tried. This one is a goat's milk soap base, and I wanted to try this, although I won't be using this on my baby because I'm currently dairy free because he doesn't even like it when I drink milk or any dairy products. So I made some and I'll show you, but I'm not going to be using this on my baby. Otherwise though, I think it would be fine, no problems. Another option you have, which is one of my favorites, is a shea butter soap base. This one is really soft and smooth. I really liked it. This is kind of my go-to of the soap bases that I've found. There's also a cocoa soap base and like a honey one too. Those are also really nice, and I'll put links in the description for you there. And then you have your standard just like clear glycerin soap base. It says it's made with vegetable glycerin, and I believe it said it was like organic or even vegan. I can't remember, but I'll put a link down below so you can check it out. This one's just like clear. Not a lot of fancy stuff added to it though, so another cool option. I also experimented with some of the ratios of breast milk to soap base, so I'll show you a couple of examples before we get started. This one is one of my favorites. This is a goat's milk soap base with breast milk. It turned out really, really pretty. The color is absolutely beautiful. I'll show you some of the soap molds that I used in just a second. I also made several little dinosaur shapes in the goat's milk too, because the older kids wanted soap for them in their bath. All right, these ones were the shea butter soap base, and also really, really pretty. This little mold says 100% handmade, which I thought was really, really cute. I also did a couple of just standard little circle ones. This one I actually added lavender into the bottom, so that was kind of fun. I'll do a couple like that to show you what the additives do when you put them in. It's really hard to put extra stuff in your milk because like I tried a couple of dried flowers and it bled and turned the bar yellow. So I don't actually think I'll be using that one. You know, and then the lavender does sink to the top, so there's nothing really on the bottom, maybe one or two, but most of it stayed on the top. So that's fine. I also tried a couple with oats in the bottom, and those actually turned out really pretty. Oats are good for the skin, very organic, and a nice touch. And here's a couple of the clear ones. This clear one has less breast milk than the others. I was playing with the ratios a little bit, so it's really clear, and I didn't love it as much because it's mostly that soap base. This one is a better ratio. This is the recipe that I'll be sharing with you today. This is just a clear soap base with breast milk, so that's very just all natural soap there. This one is the same recipe. I just put some oats in the top. The oats did sink really well, so that also turned out to be a really pretty bar of breast milk soap. Here's another example of why I would not recommend adding in dried flowers and things like that, because it turns goopy and yucky. That one's going in the garbage. I've got some Breastmilk Lotion chilling in the fridge right now from another video. So if you missed that one, you can go and watch that. That's another fun way to use your breast milk. Today though, I'm gonna be using the shea butter melt and pour. You can do this in the microwave. We don't have a microwave, but you can do that. Just melt it in like 20 to 30 second intervals. You don't wanna cook it, so you just need to melt it stir, put it back in for 20 more seconds, stir it again until it's all the way melted. I'm gonna use a makeshift double boiler. If you're like me and also don't have a double boiler, then just get a big pot, put some water underneath, and then a little pot or a glass bowl or something on the top. Okay, so here's what you need. A double boiler or a microwave safe bowl. You need a soap base. You need a kitchen scale. And if you're like me and never used a kitchen scale, we didn't until we moved to Europe, and then we had to because everything's measured in grams over here. I'll put a really cheap one in the description for you because you are gonna wanna measure the amount of soap and also breast milk that you're using. You need some molds. So I got a ton of beautiful ones on Amazon. There's gonna be a bunch of these supplies in my Amazon storefront, but I'll also put a couple down below for you. This one was really, really pretty. I've showed you a couple of pieces I made with that. Here's some of the soap that I made earlier. It's just been sitting up by our sink. The boys like to use it every once in a while. So you can see this dinosaur is getting small. And this little soap is getting smaller too, but it's actually held up really well. It does smell like breast milk and soap, which is how it smelled when I first started it. But like I said, they've been sitting on the counter for a month, being used on and off. I mean, it's soap, right? The ones I'm not using though, I do store in the fridge. I'm gonna bring you in closer so you can see what I'm doing. So I've got my kitchen scale here, and if it's got a glass bowl on top of it, if you turn it on with something on top, it will zero with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut up this soap milk base and measure it out. Today, I think I'm going to make a decent sized batch. So this is 5.5 ounces of breast milk, which is about 165 milliliters. So I'm gonna use all of this breast milk, 165 milliliters. So I'm also going to do 165 grams of soap milk base. I found that the equal milliliters to grams numbers work the best. You can also use less breast milk if you want to, but I like it really milky, so we're gonna do equal parts. All right, I'm gonna cut up the soap base into little pieces. And why do you do it like this? Let me tell you. Because all of the soap makers on YouTube do it this way. Actually, it does make it easy to get the right amount of grams. And it's also really satisfying to do this part. Look at that. That's awesome. That was 30 grams. So we have a long way to go. Okay, 150 grams, that's gonna work. So we're gonna bring this over and melt it. All right, so this soap is melting. That's also another reason that you cut it so small, is that it melts a lot quicker. Again, if you wanna do this in the microwave, just microwave it for 20 to 30 seconds at a time. Stir it, put it back in. You definitely don't wanna cook it, so just be cautious there, but you do not have to do this on the stove if you don't want to. Okay, so we're gonna do 150 milliliters of breast milk. All right, that soap is totally melted, so now I'm gonna add the breast milk. All you really need to do here is stir it so that it is together, which should be fairly easy. The soap is hot and the breast milk was room temperature, so it should mix together really well. If you're using cold breast milk, it might clump a little bit more, so I do recommend letting it get to room temperature. You could also add in a couple drops of essential oil if you want. I'm not going to. My little guy has a little bit sensitive skin, so I'm just gonna stay away from anything extra. So I'm not gonna do that this time, but you certainly could. Okay, now the fun part. You just get to pour this into whatever molds you want. So let's go do that, and then we'll add a couple of fun additives. These molds over here are pretty big, so it's gonna take quite a bit of breast milk. They're so pretty though. Some of them have some bubbles on the top, so I'm just going to kind of scoop them off because it will harden that way with bubbles on the top. Okay, so here's the part where you can add in extra stuff. I'll do a couple with some dried lavender, and then I'll also do a couple with some oats. I know you've got oats around, so that'll be fun. Lavender smells really good, but it does float, so it's going to stay probably on the top of the soap. Not a lot you can do about that. You can kind of position it how you want it though. The oats sink to the bottom. So I'll put that in this one. You can see that. We'll make a little dinosaur with some oats too. So they're floating right now, but if you just stir those in, they should sink. Because the bottom is actually the top of the soap, you know, so I do kind of want them in there, not on the back of the soap. If that makes sense. Okay, that's it. It's actually really, really easy. Okay, that's really all there is to it. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the fridge and we'll come back in about an hour. And they should be pretty hard. 24 hours, they'll be totally good to go though. Okay, so the Breastmilk Soap has been in the fridge for about an hour. It's hard enough to take out of the molds. It turned out really good. I'm excited. So I'm going to enlist the help of the tiny humans to come and take it out, and then we'll show you some of our favorite pieces. Okay, they turned out awesome. Want to show them your favorite ones? I think this is mine, mostly because I love the mold, and that is so pretty. Oh, here's our oat dinosaur. Boys wanted me to show you that one. Simon, do you have a favorite one?
Yep, lavender.
Ooh, pretty. You can see that the lavender stayed on the top. A couple of them sunk to the bottom, but most of those are on the back. The shea butter soap base is my favorite because it just makes it so white. Makes it really look like a breast milk soap. That's all there is to it. Super easy. I've also got videos on DIY breast milk jewelry and Breastmilk Lotion on the channel, so you can check those out. And we'll see you on the next video. We did an awesome job.
Bye. 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 See you next time.